going on, guys? This is Scott with KC Blade Drip, and we've got another show and tell review slash etc etc. Time to talk knives. What do you think about that? Glad you're with me. We've got the 150% guarantee on this channel, guys. Anybody that's watched any of my previous videos, I guarantee that I'm going to be 100% correct over 50% of the time. Every knife has a story. I like starting to bring that to you. This is all opinions. I get to look, show, talk about, kind of tell you what I think about a knife, and then we'll look at some different specs and information and kind of hopefully aid you in your knife journey. Hope you had a great weekend, because today is Monday. Monday, May 16th. Nobody here has a case of the Mondays, so we're going to fire this off just right. And when you decide to fire something off just right, who can you count on? Well, SOG, that's who. The Flash AT, this is the blackout edition. And we're going to take a look at this. We're going to go over this bad boy right here. Now, if you are on Instagram and you would like to, look me up, KC Blade Drip. Check me out there. I try to be a little bit, I don't know, try to use some creativity when I post different photos of knives. A lot of them will coordinate as I'm doing YouTube videos, reviews, unboxings, mystery unboxings. Just, you never know what you're going to get. But the bottom line is, guys, we love, we enjoy our knives, handling, touching, fondling, all for the joy of our holiness in knives. So anyways, here we go. Now, I actually, on my channel too, just to kind of real quickly touch base with, is these are my opinions, and I don't care if I don't like something. I'm going to tell you. People give me, you need to say the good things. No, when people start paying me, then what will happen is I'll start giving you a slanted review that's probably going to be like anybody does who's in advertising. But until then, this is my channel, my opinion. And I'm going to give you what you depend on, which is giving you the truth in my eyes. And we're always going to keep it real. I love everybody out there that's been helping me in my channel and my vision. So here we go. The SOG. This is the Flash AT. Now, SOG, I believe, is headquartered or based out of, I think it's Seattle, Washington. This particular knife we're going to look at is made in Taiwan. Okay, so this is a automatic, so check your knife laws, make sure it is something that you'd be able to carry or own. I don't pretend to know all the knife laws where you may reside, so that would be something that you would have to check out, make sure it's good to go. So it is spring assisted, opening auto, and there we go. So first thing that we'll try to do here is let's talk about first impression in picking up, handling the knife. Now, I was going to actually do an unboxing of this knife, and I'm glad that I didn't, because this is a knife that I actually had to have in my hands for a little while to get an honest opinion. Some things, if it's more of a knife that I have a feeling I'm going to really love or enjoy, I don't mind opening up and kind of getting a little excited on cam for the first time. But this particular knife I wasn't sure about, and I wanted to get a little pocket time with this so that I could base a honest opinion to be able to bring that to you. Now, so when I first picked it up, I thought to myself, it's a little heavy. I mean, but not anybody that has watched my channel, I don't mind if it's got some heft or beef to it. So that's actually a good thing. It feels like the knife overall has some heft, some weight to it. I'm fine with that. But I did notice it was a little heavy. Okay. And that's, there's no sharp edges on this. SOG, I've got a few SOGs. And actually I pulled out my SOG, is it Pilar or Pillar? I think it's Pillar. It's a fixed blade. Love that knife. In fact, that's probably my favorite that SOG makes. But so I was excited to try this out. Now this price point, just to bring that up here so that you know, this is about a $75 knife. So I always have to work that into the, when I get to where I talk about value, I have to consider the price of what we're paying. So this particular knife is truly ambidextrous. Okay, so that means for right or left-handed folks carry, it's going to be identical. Okay, so the clip itself kind of start here. As you can see, this is set for tip up, right hand carry. If we flip this to the left, as far as the blade itself, it's going to be identical on each side. We do have the option to do that. This is a deep carry clip. As you can see, this is extremely deep carry. So when you drop this in your pocket, it's going to take you all the way up and cover all of the knife in your pocket. And then on the top here, we can flip this over to the other side. Okay, so just covering the clip aesthetically, I like it. I do like a little thicker style type clip, but this does a job great. The lip here goes over your pocket and doesn't tear it up or do any type of really hardcore in my limited use of only a few days. Now, it only took me, I had this for about 3 or 4 days of carrying it, and I kind of made up a little bit of an opinion on the knife in that period of time as to whether it be something that I would carry all the time. So the clip I was fine with. It worked great. Now, as far as, let's just go ahead here while we have it. Like, I like to at least just do some measurements and weight for you real time so that you can see this as we're doing it. Again, I do not like going and reading stuff like it says 5.2 inches. No, let's measure it together. We'll get that out of the way. I'm not going to do that stuff. Okay, so blade length, we're looking at 3.2. 3¼ inches. Cutting edge here. You got a little area for the, I believe, a sharpening choil here. The handle itself, probably about 7.5. Now this is getting close to 5 inches, but it's about 4¾ maybe slightly longer. One thing aesthetically, by looking at the knife itself, I would say the handle looks like it's quite a bit longer than the blade itself. That's one thing aesthetically, even though I have a large size glove that I wear. I don't know. I kind of like a bigger blade, in my opinion, and would prefer a 3.5 to a 4-inch blade maybe, but this is fine. But I'm just talking aesthetically, since we went by measuring the size. The weight on this thing, let's get a weight here. 4.6. So that is, for most people, I would say, generally speaking, that's just a little bit heavy, but to me, completely fine. I find the weight distribution is quite all right on this knife. In the pocket, depending on what you're used to, I'm okay with that, but it is what it is as far as the weight goes. Now, the blade itself, this is going to be a Cryo D2. Okay, so D2 basically Cerakoted blade here. I'm not sure how I feel about this because I don't know how this is going to wear, this coating on the blade. Cryo, I don't know. They heat, then freeze. Is it a gimmick? I have no idea, but that's the type of blade steel. I do like D2. It tends to be a little bit more affordable for a lot of companies to use. Hence, we're getting this coming in to us at $75. And then the name the Flash AT automatic. And SOG, Studies and Observations Group, which if you didn't know, that's what SOG stands for. So the blade itself, this is going to be a flat grind that's on here. And then this is a drop point. This is a plain edge, so no serrations or anything on it. It is pretty wide. I like the profile on the blade. It is kind of, to me, I mean, it's thicker, but not, I mean, it's still what I would consider a good slicer by looking at this blade. Again, coming with our D2, it's going to have some strength to it. You'll notice at the top you have the thumb studs, again, ambidextrous, so each side, whether you're holding this and deploying with the left or the right, when you, it's got some authority and kick on that. That spring really jets out, and that's a strong auto that pops out. Very strong. Little effort on it. Okay, now it's kind of a, I've heard this is a take of an axis lock / Benchmade. I don't think so, because the axis lock, when you pull that back and forth, you can swing. And this is a little stiffer. And to deploy it, you don't use this. You don't use this at all to deploy it. You always will use the thumb stud. So although the locking mechanism to release is similar, I guess in some ways, this is SOG's take on the locking mechanism, which is actually referred to as being the XR lock. So it's patented on for them. Now, when this thing is closed, you're going to have a lock up at the top here. If you push this in, you won't be able to deploy it. So if you're carrying this in your pocket or you're worried about it accidentally deploying, you can engage this lock and you can't. Push up, you see the red dot here. Now you can open it. When it's open, you don't move this, it stays. So there's no real need or way to lock it into place when it's open. I mean, it's already locked. And then to disengage from this point, you pull down, and you've got quite a bit of spring in here all the way through. So I'm not sure that I like this locking mechanism whenever it's, because I'm not quite a fan of that. I'm just not sure. When you're holding it, here it is. It's not hurting or gouging or anything. I don't know if I need that extra step right there. It's quite beefy. I mean, it's a pretty beefy knife. Now, as far as materials and such, the scales here, this is going to be a glass reinforced type nylon, so they're not going to be G10. I think it might be a little bit lighter than G10 because, as you can see, we've got steel frame in here. This is for on the inside of where the scales are. You can see they're not milled out or anything. So you have kind of a really thin set of steel scales on the inside of the handle here. Runs all the way down. You have your back spacer here. One thing about this, you see these little holes here? If we shine in here, you see the light right there? Basically, this is for a lanyard. Now, it would have to be a pretty small lanyard, I think. But this slides through here, and so it would be for a different take on a lanyard, which I'm fine with because it's kind of hidden, like a lot of designs that I've seen recently. So that is for you people that like to have, guys, gals that like to have lanyards through your knife. You would be able to work something through there, I believe, depending on the size of the lanyard. Okay, now as far as the actual handle, as you can see, locking in here, I've got plenty of real estate. And SOG is known and good for that, where most of their, well, I mean, they've got some smaller knives, but a lot of their knives are you're able to wear gloves with, or it's made for large or extra large hands. So this is very comfortable. Again, there's no areas that are hurting my hand or digging into my hand, cutting, anything like that. You do have some jimping up here on the top of the blade, as well as down into, when it locks back into place, you've got that where it carries down into the top of where the handle area is at here. So when you have your hand wrapped around here, you've got a good grip. And this, the traction you have is enough to where, again, this isn't going to aggravate your thumb at all. It just gives you enough to where you can pressure down on and have some good traction on your knife, on the blade area here. So that's good. Let me see if there, yeah, there isn't any other jimping on the knife except for here at the top. So aesthetically, it looks great. I tend to like the blackout versions. Got your pivot here. I like the handle, how it has kind of the design or the ridges that go across here. That just adds some more texture so that it doesn't feel slick at all in the hand, and it allows you to really feel like you've got a good grip on the knife. I mean, it definitely feels like it's an overbuilt, good workhorse. So if you have the need, you're a first responder, or you know, in any type of a tactical situation that you may be in, I'm sure this is going to do the job for you. It's a nice, I mean, feels really well built. Again, and that's for $75. You can't go wrong. Just a couple little things that, you know, kind of can prevent me, and one being this lock here. I just don't, I'm not too big on that. Although it does give you peace of mind if that's something that you like to have. The blade looks like it's perfectly centered here. Yeah. Clip's good to go. Handle's good to go. You can see what it looks like here. Again, I would highly recommend this for $75. Highly recommend it. It's a very good company. It's a well-built knife. Feels kind of like a tank in your hand. Is it for me? No. I just have some other things that I would like to carry myself personally, and I've got a hell of a lot of knives and a lot of other things to try. I will have this in my collection. but it's not necessarily something that I would find use or delight in. But with that being said, you know, just because a knife isn't for me or you or anybody else doesn't mean it's bad at all. In fact, to the contrary, I think they hit it out of the park. This is a great design for many, many people. It does have some real life uses for it. I feel like it's sturdy. There's no play in it. It's solid. When I'm trying to wiggle or move the blade here, you've got good traction, everything. So again, I love the knife, guys. Appreciate you taking the time just for me to walk through, show you this particular blade. Got lots of stuff coming up. I do have more unboxings. I do have more reviews. If you like this sort of material, like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't, you can subscribe. I promise it'll be our little dirty secret. With that being said, hope you have a great day. This is Scott. I'm out.